Hey guys, this is Rick. I'd hoped to be bringing you a video of my layout and giving you a general idea of just where I stood with it, but unfortunately with the Christmas festivities and the inclement weather we've been having, I just haven't been able to get outside to take the videos showing you the smallness of the shop itself from the outside and then going inside and showing you the limited space I've got. I hope to be bringing you a video by the end of the week showing you just how much framing I have got done and just where I'm going with it. But until then, we'll see these photos. Just take the time to look them over. And yeah, that was pun intended. And just kind of give you a general idea of where I'm coming from and just what my layout's going to be about. That's from the little town of Tabor City, North Carolina, which I'm originally from. And back in the eras of 1969, 1970, thereabouts, when Seaboard and Atlantic coastline was running through there. These first few photos are going to be of the area where the terminal it actually set in Tabor, right in the middle of town. This sign here is where the original terminal used to be. Right now there's nothing but a small park there, and there's nothing at the terminal left. What is left of the terminal has been moved a couple streets over, and all that's left of it is the baggage and freight building, at least a part of it. And from what I've been told, the main part of the terminal was moved outside of town, and someone actually renovated it and turned it into a home. And I would love to be able to find that house to kind of, get an idea of just what it looked like for my planning of my own layout later on. Inside this building, there's a layout showing the downtown section itself, and I'd hoped to get in there, but they were closed that day. So I have no idea just what they might have in there that would help me in planning my layout. So the beat goes on, so they say. These next few photos are of the downtown section of Tabor to give you kind of a feel for just what I'm dealing with here. As you can see, it's a small town. Actually, looking at this, it makes me feel like I'm a 8-9-year-old boy back in my hometown, because it truly has not changed a lot from when I lived there back in '69. I remember many a time sitting beside this track in a car, and as the train came by, looking up at the engine and the engineer waving, and it just seemed like some monster coming through town. I mean, that's how large it seemed to be right beside the car. I just wanted to show you this switch to kind of give you an idea for the nostalgia that's still left in this town, and thought it was pretty quaint. Alright, this area here is the main, I guess you'd say, industrial area of the town. If you'll notice off to the right where the siding starts off at, there's a number of buildings still left there. There's a lot of them also gone, and there are quite a few I guess you'd say, sidings that went off of this main line. I haven't been able to figure out how many as of yet. That's my main holdup, because until I figure that out, I just don't know how much track to lay down, how many sidings to put in. So research is still happening. While I was there were a couple of signs that I would love to have brought home. Don't adjust your sets. Don't change your color settings. That's the actual color of the sign. It faded so much. It wouldn't surprise me a bit to find out that the sign was from there back when I was there in the '60s. It was unbelievable how faded looking it was, and I'd have loved to have it brought home with me. If you'll notice that small crossbucks down there, the little sign that says 3 tracks, apparently there were 3 sidings here at one time. And if you'll notice the new sign, it says 2 tracks. Another sign I'd love to brought home with me, but at least it gave me an idea of that there were 3 sidings at this point and at this juncture. There were a number of abandoned rails, a number of abandoned sidings that were still left, just like this one. I guess it was a lot easier to just leave where they were at instead of trying to tear them up, which thankfully for me kind of helped me in determining that there were at least 3 sidings here. Just like this one right here, you can see the rails coming in together, I'm sure, for a switch, and that right there is 2 sidings, coming apart right there. So, I was able to find out a good bit while I was there. As you notice, that building off to the right there, that is one that I'm going to be building from scratch. I want to try to stay as close to original as I can and as factual as I can. So, still doing a lot of research, and um, you know, I got years to work with it. While we were there walking the tracks and looking at the various rails and so forth in the buildings, we heard the whistle and turned around, and a train was coming right through the middle of town. A little short haul out of Chadron, North Carolina. And if I'm not mistaken, the name of it's Carolina Southern Railroad. Was hoping that it was a long train, but as it got closer and as I listened, more to the sounds of the train, as you can see, it wasn't that much to it. It's just the engine and a hopper car. Still, it was an added bonus to have come through at the time that we were there. As you can notice, it's not the most modern equipment in the world. Um, hey, it still runs and it's still doing the job. And as it passed us and all, the engineer waved at us, and then I noticed him reaching up and starting to slow everything down. Right after I took this photo, the train basically came to a stop, and we watched, wondering what was going on. We did notice a pickup truck there where the train stopped at, and the engineer came off the train, got in the pickup truck, and I guess they went off to lunch, leaving the train sitting there on the main line. Back in the 60s, that wouldn't have happened because there were a couple of trains that came through Tabor a day, but I imagine this is probably the only one that does come through there anymore. At least it was my benefit, so because I was able to get close to the train and get some photos and be able to enjoy seeing it up close for a change instead of just in passing. A little farther down in front of that engine is the lumber mill in which my father worked, and it's going to be one of the main focus points of my layout. Anyway, that's it for the moment. I hope to have more pictures later on, maybe especially of the lumber mill itself. This caboose here, which always brought up all the trains that came through Tabor back in the 60s, when Atlantic Coastline was coming through, and on which my layout would be built. I remember many a time seeing the trainmen hanging out the window and waving at us as it came through town. So, needless to say, I definitely have a caboose on my setup. But that's it for now. I hope to have more video, or actually the video of my layout taken by the end of the week, and I can post that. But until then, I did want to post something to let you know that I hadn't hadn't just given up on the layout. It's going to be a labor of love in progress from my childhood days, and hopefully I'll be able to bring you more before too long. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you soon.